Step into the chilling world of courtroom dramas, where the actions of young offenders take center stage. From shocking crimes to the courtroom reactions of these young individuals facing death sentences, prepare to be captivated by the most brutal kids reacting to death sentences. Philip Chisholm's case showcases the horrifying murder of his math teacher, Colleen Ritzer. Chisholm's lack of remorse and chilling demeanor in court leave everyone in disbelief. Despite his young age, he is sentenced to life imprisonment for his heinous crimes.
24-year-old is seen in released surveillance videos. It's chilling footage of her walking out of the frame and Chisholm seemingly second-guessing himself in the proceeding to follow her into the bathroom. These are the last moments of her life.
Elisa Bustamante's case is equally disturbing, as she brutally murdered her 9-year-old neighbor. Her fascination with Dieth and her nonchalant behavior during the trial shock everyone present.
Certainly was not in the same, should be held in the same position as to punishment as an adult would, even though she'd been certified as an adult.
She is sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 35 years.
Basically, the main reason for accepting the offer was to avoid the absolute certainty of life without parole. If there was another option, then there would have been no reason to have accepted that offer.
Brandon Spencer's actions during a Halloween party shooting leave a community in shock. Despite the gravity of his offenses, Spencer's courtroom behavior raises eyebrows and leaves many questioning his true character. He is ultimately sentenced to 40 years to life in prison.
21-year-old Brandon Spencer of Inglewood bangs his head as a judge sentences him to 40 years to life after he was convicted of shooting a rival gang member. Today, in L.A. Superior Court, Spencer begged for mercy from Judge Edmund Clark Jr. before sentencing.
I'm sorry for what happened, Your Honor, but I need to life in prison. And I'm not a bad person, but I made mistakes.
Conrad Schaefer's involvement in random shootings and the tragic death of an innocent victim shocks a neighborhood.
4 fled with $300 in cash, a TV, video game consoles, and a phone. Evidence photos were also released, including the kitchen knife used to stab Ruth Noreen and the gloves allegedly worn by Schaefer and Damas while they were inside the house.
His lack of remorse and chilling statements during the trial leave families torn apart. Schaefer receives consecutive life sentences for his crimes.
Had referred to drive-by shootings he had done all over Osceola County. In all, he's suspected in 18 shootings, 2 of them deadly, Ruth Noreen and the murder of 17-year-old David Guerrero, who was walking to a bus stop when he was gunned down at random and allegedly for fun.
There is no update as far as the state.
Marty Fuller's case involves the heartbreaking murder of his ex-girlfriend and the shooting of her mother.
Judge, there is no remorse in this case. The Juga home, Your Honor, is a tomb. Their home is a graveyard of memories.
Fuller shows little emotion throughout the trial, asserting his innocence despite overwhelming evidence. He is sentenced to life in prison, but his lack of remorse leaves many questioning his true character.
I don't have any ability to trust that you will never commit these acts. You are a very dangerous and a damaged human being.
Nicholas Cruz's deadly school shooting leaves a community devastated.
There's a change in me that runs deep. There's underlying sadness within me that is never quite gone. A part of me is damaged, and I can feel how different I am, even if it isn't visible. The scars inside of me are those of horror and guilt.
Despite his confession and guilty plea, his courtroom behavior raises eyebrows and leaves a lasting impact. He is sentenced to life in prison without parole for each of the 17 murders he committed.
The only comfort I have is that your life in prison will be filled with horror and fear. So my hope for you is that you die sooner rather than later. I have no forgiveness in my heart for you. You are a monster with no remorse.
Jennifer Mee gained fame as the Hiccup Girl, but took a dark turn when she orchestrated a robbery that ended in murder.
The effort to do this
right at the eve of the trial is clearly an effort to attempt to influence the jury.
Prosecutors asked for a gag order, hoping to prevent Jennifer Mee from talking with both local and national media outlets just days before her first-degree murder trial.
Her demeanor in court will leave you dumbfounded as she discusses the charges against her. Jennifer was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole, along with her co-defendants.
Got cased up with the wrong crowd of people, really. Unfortunately, when I started experimenting with drugs, I just felt like I was invincible to everything. This is a nightmare, you know what I mean? And then there's other days where it's just like, it is what it is.
Kendra Cook's involvement in a robbery scheme with her boyfriend leads to a violent attack.
So, she's looking at probation or community control.
There was no doubt in my mind. I thought I was going home.
And why was there no doubt in your mind?
Because he promised me I was going home.
Her conduct in the courtroom adds another layer of shock to the case. She is sentenced to prison, but her cooperation leads to a reduced sentence. Antonio Barbo and Nathan Pop's actions in the murder of Antonio's great-grandmother leave a community in disbelief. Their shocking behavior during the trial adds another layer of horror to the case. They are held accountable for their crimes and face the consequences. Antonio Barbo and Nathan Pop were involved in a robbery scheme that turned deadly.
We got in, and then I looked to Nate and nodded and shook my head as in yes or no. He nodded, and then I took the first swing.
Okay. And when you say that you took the first swing, is with the hand axe?
Yes, sir.
Barbo calmly testified he and his friend took turns striking Olson.
She started heading into the living room, falling.
Despite their expressions of remorse, they were sentenced to life imprisonment. Their courtroom behavior left everyone in shock as they struggled to show their emotions. Matthew Borges faced charges for the gruesome murder of Lee Valoria Paulino. The details of the crime were chilling, and Borges displayed an eerie lack of emotion during the trial.
The Supreme Court of the United States indicated back in 2012 that a juvenile individual who was tried as an adult but who committed the offense as a juvenile could not be sentenced to life sentence without parole, which is what the sentence would be in this case if the defendant...
He was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment.
You will hearken to the sentence the court has awarded against you. The court, having duly considered your offense, it is ordered by the court that you be punished by confinement for a term of life, with parole eligibility on the theory of extreme atrocity and cruelty at 30 years.
Dylan Schumer, at just 16 years old, faced charges for the murder of a toddler.
I didn't mean to kill Austin. Actually, I really didn't. I really think I did that. I didn't mean to hurt him.
Dylan Shoemaker walked into a state Supreme courtroom pleading his case, telling his victim's mother and the court he's remorseful for what he did.
His courtroom behavior was shocking as he displayed a lack of remorse and even attempted to manipulate the jury with tears. He was sentenced accordingly for his crimes.
At night, so while, there's a lot of emotion in the courtroom today, mostly from the defendant, I think he's more concerned about his future, which is not very bright, but I don't lose perspective of that 23-month-old who doesn't have a voice in that courtroom today other than Judge Bowler.
And Judge Bowler. Chanel Jackson faced charges for the murder of a college student during a robbery. His lack of remorse and shocking attitude in court left everyone speechless.
Mr. Jackson to life imprisonment without possibility for extended supervision. I know that that is something that is reserved for the most serious of cases, and I believe that this case rises to that level.
He was sentenced to a lengthy prison term for his crimes. These cases highlight the complexities of the human psyche and the pursuit of justice. They remind us of the importance of empathy, accountability, and the need for a safer society. While we may never fully understand the motives behind these crimes, we can strive for a world where such tragedies are prevented and the victims are remembered. As we witness these shocking courtroom moments, we are left pondering the depths of human nature and the impact of our actions. These cases serve as a stark reminder of the importance of justice, empathy, and the pursuit of a better future. While the courtroom can be a place of intense emotions and unexpected behavior, it is also where we seek truth, accountability, and the hope for a society free from such heinous crimes. If you enjoy our content and would like to stay updated, we'd be thrilled if you could hit that subscribe button. It would mean the world to us. Thanks for your support.